Have you ever wondered what it would be like to start over with a new identity? Imagine arriving at a school where no one knows you, and suddenly everyone thinks you are someone else. Someone popular, admired, and with a perfect life, but behind that appearance, there is a constant struggle to fit in and not lose oneself. So let's start with this great story. The story begins with Jo Min Jae, a girl who arrives at a new school with great hopes, making real friends. In her old school, loneliness had been her only companion, and friendship seemed like something out of reach. Now, with a mix of nerves and doubts, she walks the halls of her new school with a pretty pessimistic attitude. However, to her surprise, the students welcome her with applause, something completely unexpected for her. During recess, a spark of hope begins to ignite in Minyae. For the first time in a long while, she feels that maybe she could make a friend. However, her efforts are in vain. Every attempt to get closer to others ends in failure, and the indifference of her classmates quickly makes her enthusiasm fade away. But fate had something in store for her, a surprise. Suddenly, Shin Jae-ju and her group of friends, known for being the most popular girls in school, approach Min Jae. Jae shows interest in including her in their circle. Min Jae is left bewildered. She can't believe that the most influential girls in school are willing to talk to her. Fortunately, she doesn't freeze up, since she remembered some tips from a tutorial video on how to socialize. Thanks to that, she manages to strike up a conversation with them as they walk together through the halls. Minyae starts to feel accepted and experiences a happiness she thought was far away. The situation becomes even more interesting when Shin-yu introduces her to Shin-jun, a tall, attractive guy, with an air of mystery that makes him stand out. Upon seeing him, Min Jae feels shy, unable to stay calm in front of someone so popular. She introduces herself shyly, but only receives a slight nod from Ji-jun, a cold and distant response that makes her even more nervous. Later, when Ji-jun is about to leave, her bracelet accidentally gets caught on Min Jae's jacket. In a reflex action, she catches it before it falls to the ground. Not knowing how to react, she remembers the advice from the tutorial she had watched. She had to always smile. So she gives him a smile and gently apologizes. Ji-jun, not making a big deal out of it, tells her not to worry and walks away. That little awkward encounter leaves Min Jae with mixed feelings. Adapting to this new school seems to be more complicated than I imagined, but also much more interesting than I expected. After they walk away, Shin Ji-ju explains to her that Shin Ji-hyun, another guy in the group, is Ji-jun's cousin. But their personalities are very different. Ji-jun tends to be distant, while Ji-hyun is the class president and a kind person. In music class, Min Jae and Ji-jun end up sitting together, which makes the situation even more awkward. However, they remember Shin Ji-ju's sociable nature, which motivates her to try to make friends. Gathering her courage, Min Jae tries to start a conversation with Ji-jun, but he immediately puts on his headphones, which leads her to give up on her attempt. Soon after, Min Jae finds herself in the school office, where a teacher encourages her to enjoy this new chapter. The teacher also mentions that another student, Nueva, will be arriving soon. Upon seeing the profile of this new student, Min Jae is surprised to notice that they share the same name. However, their photos are different. Min Jae still wears glasses and has a simple style, while the other girl, also named Yo, Min Jae, looks sophisticated and stylish. The teacher confuses Min Jae with the popular Min Jae, which makes Min Jae start to wonder if her new friendships are due to that mix-up, since the other Min Jae is an influencer with many followers on social media. In the nurse's office, Min Jae feels torn. On one hand, she's happy to have made friends, but she also fears that once her true identity is discovered, she'll lose everything. Sometime later, Ji-hyun goes to see her. He already knows everything that's going on and assures her that he won't reveal her secret. In class, her friends approach Min Jae to compliment her on having so many followers, even though they're actually referring to the other Min Jae's account. When she wants to confess the truth, Min Jae realizes that they just want her to follow them on social media. Noticing this, she decides to say that she won't open her social media that day. As they leave school, Ji-hyun approaches Min Jae and offers to help her with a few things. She thanks him, thinking he's a nice person, but Ji-hyun clarifies that he's only helping her out of pity. That night, Minyae feels sad about not being as popular as the other Minyae, which frustrates her because they share the same name. She knows that eventually the real Minyae will arrive at school and fears being forgotten. Sometime later, Yo-e Min Jae. She's about to buy some candy when Ji-jun suddenly appears and snatches it away from her. Outside the store, they start talking. Ji-jun has misunderstood the situation, thinking that Min-jae was trying to do something inappropriate, so he stops her from buying the candy, believing it was medication. So, he asks her about her mood. Min-jae, in response, asks her if she's ever felt the urge to disappear from the world. In response, Ji-jun says that he would never think about that and that he would keep on living. The next day, the new student arrives in class, and it turns out to be Min-jae, the influencer. Min-jae is surprised to see her, since the other Min-jae dresses like a nerd, which she didn't expect. On the other hand, the new Min-jae also feels uncomfortable discovering that there's someone with the same name in the class, which annoys her a bit. In the bathroom, Min-jae gathers the courage to talk to the new Min-jae. She compliments her for being very pretty and having many friends, a sincere gesture aimed at getting closer to her. Min-jae realizes that the other Min-jae dresses that way on purpose. However, before she can respond, the school bell rings and she loses interest in continuing the conversation, thinking there's nothing more to discuss. In the classroom, Min-jae jokes around with Shin Ji-ju's group, which makes the influencer remember moments from the past when she used to hang out with them, doing their makeup together. But those times are behind her now, and she feels that having friends isn't worth much. Shortly after, Min-jae secretly approaches the influencer. Noticing that the situation is private, he quickly takes her to the school's storage room. There, Min-jae confesses that she won't bother her anymore. After blindly following her friend's misconceptions, she explains that her friends actually thought she was the influencer. Upon hearing this, the influencer suggests that she should tell the truth so she won't regret it later. However, Min-jae doesn't want her happy days to end. She enjoys pretending to be the influencer because it allows her to get attention from her friends. The influencer doesn't seem upset and continues to act like a shy student. But she warns her that if she accepts friend requests on social media, they might discover her real photos. Meanwhile, Jae-hyun and Jae-jun are sitting together. Hyun asks Jun, a bit nervously, asks if he's interested in Min-jae. Without showing any emotion, Jun replies that he's not interested. Shortly after, Shin Ji-ju approaches them and asks what they were talking about. Ji-hyun mentions the rumor that Ji-jun is getting close to Min-jae, which annoys Ji-jun even more when Ji-ju insists on the topic. Shin Ji-ju then invites everyone to a welcome party for Min-jae as the new student. It doesn't take long before they're at a karaoke place. After having some fun for a while, Ji-jun asks Min-jae to sing a song since it's her welcome party. This makes Min-jae nervous because she's never been to a karaoke. Jae-hyun asks Jun to sing. He refuses. Jun to sing, but he refuses, saying he won't do it in front of others. After choosing a suitable song, Min-jae prepares to sing. She doesn't worry too much because after karaoke, she plans to tell them the truth. As she sings, everyone is amazed by her mysterious voice and applauds her, which gives her confidence. After her performance, Min-jae excuses herself to go to the bathroom. Jae-gun, noticing, he discreetly follows her. When Min-jae leaves the bathroom, she meets Jun offers drink. Hyun, who offers her a drink. He compliments her appearance during the presentation, hinting that he might be starting to take a little interest in her. Meanwhile, inside the karaoke room, the rest are still having fun. Shin-yu and her friends return to the group and Min-jae comes back with them. However, Min-jae feels that this could be the sign of the end of their friendship. At that moment, they notice that Min-jae's social media account, there are no posts. Seeing this, Min-jae feels curious about why Min-jae has deleted all his photos. Shortly after, Ji-hyun and Ji-yoon are seen talking. Ji-hyun reminds Ji-yoon of some past incidents that caused disagreements between them, but Ji-yoon pretends not to care. The next day, during music class, Min-jae can't help but watch Ji-yoon. Finally, they start a somewhat awkward conversation. However, in a kind gesture, Ji-yoon offers her one of his earbuds so they can enjoy the music together, even though the awkwardness between them is still there. Meanwhile, Shin Ji-ju and her friends are busy taking selfies. In the middle of this, Shin Ji-ju notices that Min-jae blocks her view from behind and kindly asks her to move a little. Min-jae reluctantly agrees, pretending to be a shy student. When they finish taking pictures, Min-jae approaches the group and accidentally steps on Shin Ji-ju's shoe. Without losing her composure, she acts like a shy student and quickly apologizes. Shortly after Min-jae runs into Min-jae on the school rooftop. Min-jae thanks her for helping her, but Min-jae warns her about spending time with them due to school trouble. Being risky, she also notices that Min-jae is quite studious, so she suggests that she consult her before making important decisions. Before leaving, Minjae asks for help again, pleading with her to tutor her because her grades aren't doing well. The next day, Minjae is hanging out with her friends when Shinjiju asks her about the agency that accepted her, since she had previously sung at one. This question leaves Minjae even more confused. As she looks at you, Minjae, she gestures for her to be quiet. Later that night, Minjae returns from shopping when she unexpectedly runs into Ji-jun. They exchange glances and feel embarrassed, so they try to hide for a moment. However, they gather the courage to approach each other and decide to walk home together. During that walk, Ji-jun starts to show some interest in Minjae, although he's still too shy to express it openly. The next day, Minjae and her friends attend gym class. Shinjiju notices Minjae's shoes and is surprised because she also wants a pair just like them, but they're too expensive for her. Forgetting the brand, Shinjiju asks Minjae, who, not being very knowledgeable about fashion, honestly admits that her shoes aren't expensive and that she doesn't know the brand. This leads her friends to assume that Minjae's shoes might be fake, which makes her a little sad. Suddenly, Ji-jun shows up and comments that he's wearing the same shoes as Minjae. So, one of Jae's friends, Hyun, arrives and jokes, asking if they are secretly dating, diverting the attention from the topic of the shoes. Later, Minjae and Jo Minjae are in the school storage room chatting. During the conversation, they hear footsteps approaching. Minjae quickly hides and they find out it's Jae. Hyun. Just when Jo Minjae is about to leave, Hyun stops her and expresses his desire to join their secret group. Rumors of Minjae's fake shoes cause suspicion. He shares that rumors are spreading in the school forum about Minjae wearing fake shoes. As a result, every time Minjae walks through the school hallways, the other students look at her with suspicion. Back in the classroom, Shinjiju, who had seen Minjae earlier, sincerely apologizes for her comments during physical education class. However, Minjae holds no grudges. She sincerely apologizes for her comments during physical education class. However, Minjae holds no grudges. At that moment, Jo Minjae hears the comments from other students and feels sorry for Shinjiju, since she has always been kind. Sometime later, Jo Minjae receives a notification on social media where Shinjiju tags her account and posts comments suggesting that she is always apologizing, which leaves Jo Minjae puzzled. On the other hand, Ji-hyun is seen collecting information from Dal, a friend of Shin, Ji-ju, using his charisma. This way, Ji-hyun gets details about the issues between Shinjiju and Jo Minjae. The next day, Shin-yu is surprised to see that her post has been shared by Yu. Minjae advises her not to talk to her anymore. Won initially thinks that the person who made that comment is Yu Minjae, and she is surprised because she saw her as someone innocent. Meanwhile, Minjae smiles after sharing Shin-yu's story on her social media. Soon after, Yu Minjae approaches her since they have plans to meet up. Yu Minjae has been helping Minjae understand fashion better and even suggests t-shirts with characters that would look good on her. While they are in a cafe, Minjae looks happy because it's her first time visiting a place like this. Noticing her happiness, Yu Minjae asks her if she has never been to a cafe before. This question makes Minjae feel a bit uncomfortable, as despite being considered popular in school, she has never had the chance to enjoy those moments. Noticing her sadness, Jo Minjae quickly takes a photo of her and encourages her to change her profile picture. Elsewhere, Yoon sees Minjae's new profile picture and plans to send her a message, but he gets interrupted when Hyun surprises him hiding something. Hyun is also hiding a secret. He is the one who posts anonymously on the school forum. The next day, everyone gathers and starts talking about someone that Da is in love with, even though Da is too shy to admit it. Wong says she has become friends with Hyun, and Jun. But she acknowledges that it's hard to really get to know them well, since Jun always keeps his distance. Minjae doubts friendship with Jun. Jun behaves that way with everyone, which makes her doubt the possibility of becoming friends with him. As they enter the school, Minjae witnesses a teacher scolding Jun for dressing like a college student, telling him that his clothes are too casual and causing issues with the teachers. Minjae suggests to Ji-jun that he should wear the school uniform properly from time to time. Later, Minjae is woken up by a friend, and when she looks towards the door, she sees Ji-jun dressed neatly. This reminds her of the advice she gave him and makes her feel happy. Ji-jun approaches Minjae and hands her a music cassette, showing that he has taken her suggestion to dress properly. Not long after, Minjae walks into the workroom and tells him that she's going to school. She enters the classroom wearing the shirt she bought with Yu Minjae. Chan, who notices her outfit, makes a comment that makes her feel a bit embarrassed. However, the reaction from the other students is different, as several of them like the shirt. Ji-hyun also mentions that the clothes look good on him and that they seem expensive. Thanks to the support of her friends, Min-jae, who initially felt insecure, regains her confidence. The next day, Min-jae runs into Ji-hyun and gives her a gift to thank her for the cassette. He hands her a movie ticket, but just one. Seeing him, Ji-jun suggests that they go together after school. Later, Shin Ji-ju asks Min-jae asks her to accompany her to the clothing store they mentioned earlier, but Min-jae can't accept because she already has plans with Ji-jun. Upon hearing this, Shin Ji-ju hints that maybe Ji-jun is starting to feel something for Min-jae and offers to help her with that. The next day at school, Min-jae receives a message from Shin Ji-ju who wants to talk to her. Meanwhile, Jae-hyun and Jae-jun enters the school. Jun asks Jun. Jun seems different and asks if he's happy. But Jun replies that he's still the same as always. However, Jae-hyun senses that he's lying and gets upset with him. At the same time, Jae meets with Min-jae to talk about her dilemma between friendship and love. This conversation makes Min-jae remember her own past experiences, where she also faced difficulties related to friendship and romantic feelings. Min-jae expresses her preference for keeping her friendship with Shin Ji-ju, so she decides to give the movie ticket to Shin Ji-ju so he can go on a date with Ji-jun. Seeing this, Min-jae gets angry with Min-jae, believing that she's fooling herself by denying her true feelings. Ji-jun comes up with a plan and calls Ji-hyun to carry it out. Shortly after, Min-jae surprises Ji-jun by showing up with Ji-hyun. Before watching the movie, they decide to play a shooting game, where Min-jae shows her athletic talent even though she doesn't stand out academically. Later, they go to the movies, but Ji-hyun starts acting affectionately towards Min-jae, which makes her uncomfortable and stirs up Ji-jun's jealousy. After leaving the cinema, Ji-hyun invites Shin Ji-jo to go home with him. Although at first Shin Ji-jo seems confused, Ji-hyun quickly takes her hand and leads her away. At the bus stop, Shin Ji-jo realizes that Ji-hyun did that on purpose. Casually, Ji-hyun mentions that actually Shin Ji-jo isn't interested in Ji-jun, but is just pretending. Moreover, he hints that he doesn't really like her either. Min-jae. Shin Ji-jo denies both accusations and asks Ji-hyun not to act childish. Before leaving, Ji-hyun warns her not to cross certain boundaries. Meanwhile, Ji-jun and Min-jae walk back home together. Min-jae asks her if he really wants to ask her out. Ji-hyun thinks to himself that maybe it's true, since Min-jae is someone he can talk and laugh with. Min-jae also notices that she's the only one who can make him laugh, but neither of them expresses those feelings. Before saying goodbye, Ji-hyun gathers the courage to tell her that he's glad she attended the meeting. The next day, at school, the teacher announces that the exams will start soon. By mistake, he congratulates Min-jae thinking she got a perfect score, when in reality it was Min-jae who achieved it, since Min-jae doesn't excel academically. During recess, Min-jae and her friends head to the cafeteria, but Shin-yu declines the invitation, claiming she has digestive issues. When she's stressed, upon hearing this, Min-jae decides to bring her bread to keep her from getting sick. This gesture leaves Shin-yu puzzled. Is Min-jae genuinely kind or strategic? Once friends leave, Shin Ji-ju recalls when Min-jae arrived. Initially, she thought Min-jae was ordinary, not attention-seeking, but she gets annoyed as Min-jae grabs attention. At first, Shin Ji-ju was sure that Min-jae was an ordinary girl who wouldn't overshadow her by drawing attention. However, she starts to get annoyed seeing that all of Min-jae's actions grab everyone else's attention. That night, Min-jae studies with Min-jae, who constantly scolds her for not focusing, as she needs to improve her grades. Despite her difficulties concentrating, Min-jae's innocent nature makes Min-jae feel comfortable studying with her. Meanwhile, Shin Ji-ju sees a post from Min-jae on social media, where Min-jae is studying diligently, which receives positive comments. Feeling threatened, Shin Ji-ju calls her friend Da to meet up. Later, when they meet, Shin Ji-ju knows that Da has feelings for Ji-hyun, so she confesses a supposed secret they share. Shin Ji-ju claims that Ji-hyun has asked her out and that Min-jae is dating Ji-hyun. Upon hearing this, Da looks surprised. It seems like Min-jae is betraying her friendship, but Da suspects that it's all a lie, created by Shin's jealousy. Ji-ju towards Min-jae. The next day, Min-jae talks with Ji-hyun, sees Shin Jae-ju and friends' attitude, Jo and her friends. She approaches to invite them to the cafeteria, but notices a change in their attitude. Dae comments that Min-jae pays too much attention to her male friends and neglects them. In the cafeteria, Jae ends up eating alone and realizes that she has been excluded from Shin Ji-ju's group. Later, Hyun shows up and suggests that it's time to hit back. Ji-jun also joins them, which sparks rumors among the other students, who start to speculate that Min-jae has managed to attract the two most popular guys in school. Upon witnessing the situation, Min-jae decides to leave quickly. After her departure, Ji-jun insists that it's time to solve the problem and asks Ji-jun not to interfere. However, Ji-jun agrees to do whatever it takes. On the other hand, Min-jae, still unaware of the whole truth, confesses her worries to Jo Min-jae. That's when Jo Min-jae reveals to her that the other girls actually intended not to like her, so she shouldn't blame herself for the situation. The next day, Min-jae can't stop thinking about how her friends have turned against her. Ji-yoon notices that Min-jae is downhearted and tries to comfort her, causing her to smile happily. At that moment, Min-jae starts to realize that her feelings for Ji-jun are growing. And this is where it ends. This is a summary of User Not Found, a story full of secrets, hidden identities, and friendships that are put to the test. But this is just the beginning. There's still a lot to discover about Min-jae, Ji-jun, and their family, and all the twists and turns that surround their lives. If you want to know how this story ends and see how all these conflicts get resolved, don't hesitate to leave your comment asking for the continuation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any summaries. See you in the next video.